Hi there, Mike Wolf here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Entrepreneurs Making a Difference, where we connect entrepreneurs from all over the globe so they can collaborate and do bigger and better things together. And today I've got a special guest here with us. Her name is Rebecca Morgan. I'm going to read her bio. She's an international speaker, trainer, and consultant specializing in creating innovative solutions for workplace effectiveness challenges. She's been on 60 Minutes, Oprah, The Wall Street Journal, National Public Radio, and USA Today, as well as international media. Rebecca is the best-selling author of 25 books, two of which have sold over 250,000 copies. Since 1980, she's transformed executives, managers, salespeople, and customer support staff into much more effective workplace contributors. Rebecca is the founder of Books for Treats, a nonprofit which enables communities and individuals to give gently read children's books at Halloween instead of candy. She's also on the board of Together We Can Change the World, a nonprofit helping women and children in Southeast Asia so they can have better lives through education and improved health. So welcome to the show, Rebecca.
Well, thank you, Mike.
That's a very impressive bio. So you've been on Oprah, 60 Minutes, and now you've moved up to Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. So
I know I'm just keep going up the chain. Yep.
there you go. Well, it's absolutely great to have you here, and I love what you're doing. It's just phenomenal.
Well, thank you.
So how did you get started? Some of these give back projects and nonprofit. How did you get down that path?
Well, I started Books for Treats at my home in 1996, when I was looking for an alternative to candy, because, as you may know, candy is not only a problem for the kids, especially now with an increase in childhood diabetes and childhood obesity, but it's a problem for the parents and the adults, because kids don't eat all their candy, or many adults eat the candy before Halloween. So I went to the library book sale and found books where I could get a golden book, those little tiny books for about a dime each. So I could get 8 or 10 books for $1, which was a little bit more than candy. And so I baited it at my house, and the kids loved it, the parents loved it. So then I took it into the community, and now we have organizations across the U.S. and Canada giving books instead of candy at Halloween. So maybe you guys want to start that in aren't you in Calgary?
I'm in Calgary. Yeah, where are you at?
I'm in Silicon Valley, San Jose.
Oh, okay, nice. Nice. So, that's a really great idea. My daughter never used to get the Halloween treats because I get to them first. But that's
right,
that's
exactly.
a whole other ball game. But yeah, that's just a fantastic idea. So, how do you see some of the stuff that you're doing as an extension, I guess, of your professional career? How does that all fall into place?
Well, sure. Well, the books are sort of a natural in that I write books as part of my speaking and consulting career. So I want kids to read, to grow up to be readers. So that's, that was not why I started this, but it's become a piece of my professional activities and my professional focus going out into my nonprofit activities. And then with Together We Can Change the World, we are different than most organizations that are serving underprivileged folks around the country, around the world, in that we are speakers, trainers, and consultants who go to, in our case, Southeast Asia, and we serve organizations there, helping the business people improve their skill sets. And then we additionally help directly to orphanages, schools, and group homes, where we provide financial assistance as well as consulting with their management to help them be more sustainable. And so the two really work hand in hand. As the business people get more successful, they can then hire the women and the kids as they get older to work in their organizations, and then the women and kids get direct financial support from us, as well as their leadership gets help. So we're able to really meld our skill sets to help them be more successful, I guess is the word.
Yeah, that's some of the stuff you're doing is just it's just awesome. For one, that's the best word. I don't know if that's the best word, but and I love what you're doing. What inspired you? How'd you come up with this idea in the first place? Were you Did it just pop into your head one day, hey, let's give books instead of candies, or
It
what was the inspiration for that?
it sort of evolved like you. I tended to eat some of the Halloween candy before it was Halloween, and I said, okay, I bought then candy I didn't like, and then I had leftover candy, and what do you do with that? And so then it just struck me when I was at the book sale that, hey, I could spend a little bit more and get books, and then the response was so tremendous. I mean, 99.9% of the kids are thrilled. And in, let's see, 16 years of doing this, 18 years of doing it, I've only had a few kids who didn't want a book. And I don't know how it is at your house at Halloween, but I've never had a kid take a Snickers bar from my bowl and run to the street going, "Mommy, mommy, I got a Snickers," which but with a book they do it day in and day out. I mean, at my house, Halloween, they know they can get a book, and they commonly are excited about it. I see them standing on the sidewalk sharing with their friends what book they got, and their friends will say, "Oh, I want to read that when you're done." And you don't see that with candy. They just grab a piece of candy and they move on. So there was enough positive feedback to know that this could be spread. And now on the website, booksfortreats.org, are kits that either you as an individual can download for free to tell you how to do it at your house, or if you want to do it in Calgary or in your place, you can download it and it tells you how to do it as a community program.
Yeah, very cool. So being in Silicon Valley, I would think that you go door to door and get Mac computers and stuff, but I guess books will do too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
no, kids aren't very excited about getting resistors and capacitors,
yeah,
and no, they doesn't excite them.
there you go, exactly. So I know you mentioned that you've been doing some stuff in Southeast Asia. Can you elaborate a little bit more about what that project looks like? And I know you're doing some really different things out there.
Well, we partner with organizations that are on the ground doing service. So we don't go in and say, and find the projects, we call them. We depend upon our on the ground nonprofits, or they call them NGOs, non-government organizations, to help us decide which schools, group homes, orphanages, and villages need help, and then they help us implement. So we did 2 trips this year, one to Myanmar, um, Thailand, and Cambodia, and then we just got back from Cambodia, Thailand, where in addition to going to schools, where they're private schools, they help some of the underprivileged kids that the government schools don't help, or the kids need more help. So we built a technology center at one school that serves about 400 kids. So we built the building and are funding the technology there so that these kids will have higher level job skills when they are ready to graduate, rather than the alternatives are them to farm or work in factories or work in stalls, where the retail stalls. And unfortunately, in some of these places, the girls are trafficked, and so this gives them another, an alternative to get out of their village, to have a safe place to stay, to get good education and some good skills. So that's one project. Another project we have in Thailand is a group home for mothers who were either shunned by their family or abused by their husband or the father of their child, and so this gives them a safe house to have their baby and learn some skills, get some education, and then be able to be independent after 2 years or less. So those are, and then we also have been building wells in the villages. We built 4 wells this time. For $300, you can build a well, which will serve up to 20 families. And these families would have had to either buy water on a very limited budget or go a half a mile to get clean water. So we're encouraging people to sponsor some wells, and on our site, Together, it's just the initials of our organization. So our organization is Together We Can Change the World. So whatever you spell it out .org, and you can get information about either sponsoring a well or contributing to the organization, or even giving a scholarship to a girl going to college for $1,000. That will sponsor a girl for a year to go to college, and in order to get the second year, they have to have earned at least a B GPA in order to get a second scholarship.
Wow,
So those
$1,000 a year. We need to. I need to send my daughter over there because it doesn't cost that in Canada.
well, we're actually going to do some trips with kids. So in probably in 2015, either you can bring her or send her, and because I think it's important for kids, especially North American kids, to see that the world doesn't live like they live, and the problems they have are pretty insignificant compared to the problems some of these other kids around the world have.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I've done a lot of travel, and I can attest to that. And yeah, we do have it pretty good in North America for sure. Absolutely. So one of the things I love all the stuff that you're doing, and one of the things that I really like is the way that your business supports your nonprofit, and the nonprofit, and it all kind of ties together. So what would you say to other entrepreneurs that may be considering doing, following a similar path, having some kind of nonprofit?
Sure. Well, I would say look at your skill base, what's your skill set, and how could you transfer that to making contribution to other people wherever, whether they're local, whether they're abroad, whatever is your passion, and bring that to other people. So something like a dry cleaner, you'd say, well, how could I take my dry cleaning business to Southeast Asia? Well, you probably can't, but you probably have some information that could help other dry cleaning businesses in Southeast Asia, that if you were wanting to contribute there, I'm just picking that spot because that's a place where I go, then you could speak, to other dry cleaner owners over there to help them know how to better manage their business, or frankly, any small business. You could do some coaching with them, or through their local associations, mentor someone abroad. So that would be the first thing that I would think of that you could do. And of course, you can sponsor people or projects like wells or homes, anywhere you find that people have done their due diligence. And that's what I really like about our organization. Is I'm a certified management consultant. One of our other leaders is a certified management consultant. We have other people who are credentialed, and depending upon our area of focus, we do our due diligence to make sure that these organizations that we support are viable, sustainable. They're not just a money. Some organizations are just really fronts to get people to donate, and then it all goes into the executive's pocket. And we audit the books, and we make sure that it's all on the up and up.
Well, I think that's so important. You want to make sure that the cause is actually being supported by the funds, and unfortunately these days that's not always the case.
It's true.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I want to ask you this, because I mean I was reading your bio, and you've been on 60 Minutes and Oprah. How do you, I'm sure everybody watching the show wants to know, how do you get yourself on those type of shows, and Entrepreneurs Making a Difference? I mean, you just barely made the cut here, but how'd you make it on those other shows?
Well, it's pretty simple. You just write a best-selling book, and they call you.
Oh boy, I knew I had to get that darn book done. Everybody keeps telling me I get my book done, and now just more reinforcement for the book.
Well, and the book market has changed dramatically since I wrote the two books that had me on the two shows. But it's not as easy nowadays to get on. But literally, that's what happened. They called me, so I don't have any advice on how to get on the shows other than do something that's noteworthy, and they'll find you.
So you didn't actually go and solicit to them and sit on their doorstep and keep bugging them. They just phoned you out of the blue.
Not at all. In fact, Oprah, I was booked to do a speech the day of that taping. I kind of vacillated because her market wasn't my market. I write business books. Business people, as a general, the vast majority of our listeners are not business people. So I thought, what is this going to do for me? But I'm glad I did it, and she was a delightful person.
Well, if that ever happens again, you can always, you can say Mike Wolf is my fill-in, and I'd gladly show up. So I'll cancel pretty much everything for that. So what did that do business-wise for you? Did you get a lot more attention after that exposure and on 60 Minutes and that, or what
Uh,
happened after?
not necessarily, because again, it's a different audience. It's her people aren't business, so it's a nice feather in my cap. It shows that you're national news and that you're newsworthy and that they do their due diligence, obviously. So it gives you a lot of gravitas because they don't just have people on that are banging on their door. They do their research.
Exactly, exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good credibility piece, so nobody's ever gonna. It never looks bad on a resume to say you've been on those kind of caliber of shows for sure.
Indeed. Yes.
So, who were some of your influences? I mean, you've done a lot of incredible stuff. Was there any one particular person that had a big influence on you, or maybe a certain book that you read? Was there one event that suddenly put you on a different path where you started doing all these great things that you're doing?
Well, thank you for that. I've always been kind of a high achiever and leader, and so I would say probably the most significant thing in my life was when I was started my business when I was 24, and I soon thereafter I got asked to teach a class at my employer, and I was a 24-year-old secretary and had never taught a class before, so I didn't understand what, but she saw in me some. She said I was an exemplar, and she wanted the rest of the staff to know how I did things. So I got the bug and just loved teaching people and helping people grow, and then shortly after that I joined the National Speakers Association, which has really been influential in all of my life, in that I can rub shoulders with the Ken Blanchards of the world, and call people like Larry Winget a friend, and other thought leaders who were open their arms and willing to give me advice when I needed it. And so I call these people, I had many, M-A-N-Y, mini, M-I-N-I, mentors. I had a lot of little mentors, people that would just give me a word or a phrase or an idea, and they didn't track my career like most mentors were, or some would for a while and then they would phase in and out. But I had lots and lots of people who influenced me, sometimes, like I said, just with a sentence, and then, as I mentioned to you before we started, I interview thought leaders in my business and do that for one of my businesses is called Speaker Net News, and that's provides a free weekly e-zine full of best practice tips contributed by the almost 10,000 readers who are speakers, trainers, consultants, authors, coaches. So every other week, like you, I interview a thought leader on something that they are just stellar at, and I've been doing that since about 2000. So I've interviewed these fabulous people and gotten lots of great ideas from the interviews that we've produced.
Well, that's what I love about doing this show so much is I get to learn from everybody I interview, and it's just just always gets the wheels turning in my head on the different things that I can implement as well from learning from
It's
people like yourself.
it's true. Sometimes I have to, though, slap myself in the forehead because I'll hear some really great idea and I think, oh, that's brilliant. And then I think, oh, that's not my business model. That's not what I
Right.
want to be doing with my life. But I see how fabulous an idea that is. But, I don't want to be on the road 5 days a week. I want to be I have another business called Making Money in Your Jammies, where I teach people how to make money wherever they want to be in the world, and so that's been very popular. So sometimes I hear these great ideas and I think, oh, well, that doesn't kind of fit my lifestyle choice and business model.
Yeah. Well, sometimes there's really simple takeaways like today, give away books instead of candy, and that's why didn't I think of that like 20 years ago? It seems pretty simple, and yet I have to hear you say it now. It just totally clicks. Hey, that's a cool thing to do.
Well, good. And go to the site and download the kit. It's all free. So booksfortreats.org.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're starting to run out of time here. This goes so fast. But what's your one message you want to send out to the world?
Um, Gosh, I would say to really look at how you want to live your life and then make your choices based upon that outcome, because it's easy to get seduced into things that would make you more money, or blah 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 blah. But then if your part of your mission is to contribute to other people's lives, sometimes you have to do that gratis. It's not always about how can I make money out of this. You get heart payment instead of concrete payment, and oftentimes, more often than not, that heart payment will morph into hard cash payment. But if you only do things out of how can I make money from this, you're really losing out on a lot of heart payment.
Yeah, that is very good point. And I think when you do things that are for the good of other people, I think the rest all falls into place. I mean, if you're doing it out of a heart-centered reasons, and you just keep doing it, it just all seems to work. And I think that's also the key to happiness. It's not the money that really makes you happy. It's the giving back at the end of the day that really, I think, takes you to the next level of happiness.
And you can give back monetarily, obviously, and the more successful you are, but I don't think that should be your only decision when you're making decisions about what you want to do with your time and your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how would our viewers get a hold of you if they wanted to learn more, or to donate to some of your causes or work with you? And
sure. My main main website is simply my name, so RebeccaMorgan.com, and that has information on my corporate consulting and speaking. And then email me from that site, and if you have specifics about the other projects that we mentioned, or I've given you the URLs to those, to go to those directly.
Yeah, well, I want to thank you for first of all, for doing what you do. I love what you're doing, and thank you for being here on the show. It's been a pleasure interviewing you, and I'd definitely like to have you back again if that works for you.
Great, sure.
So you put Oprah on hold, and you come on our show.
All right, I like it.
There you go. Well, thanks again, Rebecca, and thank you, our viewers, for tuning in to Entrepreneurs Making a Difference. I look forward to seeing you again soon in our next episode.
Thank you.